Welcome to You, Me, Empathy, a safe place for leading with your heart. Hey, thanks for being here. You, Me, Empathy is the official podcast of the Feely Human Collective, a collaborative mental health community designed to empower each of us to grow our capacity for empathy, vulnerability, and emotional wayfinding. Just a friendly reminder that this podcast is for educational and entertainment purposes only and is not a substitute for medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. No one is just a silly boy with a feely heart. You can support the show by leaving a review in Apple Podcasts, following us on social media at Yumi Empathy and Feely Human, and joining the Feely Human Collective community at feelyhuman.co. And now your host, Known Wells.
Hello, Feely Humans. Welcome to another episode of You, Me, Empathy. My name is Known Wells. I am the creator of this podcast. I'm also the founder of the Feely Human Collective. You can learn more about that at feelyhuman.co. This is episode 202 with my guest, comedian, author of Grand, podcaster at the Schaefer Shakedown, writer, just lovely Feely Human, Sara Schaefer. I loved this chat. We talked about not waiting for permission to do the thing you love, navigating the business of comedy and the trolls within it, Sarah's gentle granny with a dark streak persona, and how to be in a system and dismantle it too. We talk about the system of comedy, the system of Hollywood. Of course, we talk about the fucking patriarchy, all of that stuff. We get into it deep. I really loved this conversation and, felt grateful to chat with a comedian and human I admire in Sara Schaefer. Before we get to the episode, though, I wanted to just mention that Sara is doing a miniature comedy show. That's right. Sara makes miniatures, and she's been doing comedy shows with miniatures. It's amazing. And the next one you can see in person and also streaming virtually via Zoom, I think. It's on December 11th. It's at the Ha Ha Hole, a miniature comedy club. Robin Tran will be there, Tim Heidecker, Cristela Alonso, I think Ron Funches, and it'll be hosted by Sara. It's at the Elysian in Los Angeles. And you can also stream it. You can also watch it virtually. So check that out. Go to elysiantheater.com/hahahole, or just go to the show notes page for this episode at feelyhuman.co. The other thing I wanted to plug is, of course, please leave a rating and review for this podcast. It does help out the show. It takes a minute or two. Please, I'm trying to get to 200 ratings. We can do it. I believe in us. Thank you. The other thing is, in just a couple of days, on the 24th, on Wednesday, the 24th at 3 p.m., I believe, we are doing a Boundaries and the Holidays free Feely Human Zoom hang. So if you want to come and hang out with other Feely Humans, talk about boundaries over the holidays, let's do that. It's free to join, and if you go to my Instagram at feelyhuman or at YouMeEmpathy, or if you go to the show notes page for this episode at feelyhuman.co/episodes, you'll find a link to RSVP there. If you don't find it, just email me, youmeempathy@gmail.com. The other thing is on December 2nd, my dear pal Rebecca Haas is hosting leading her next Build Your Seasonal Self-Care Survival Kit workshop. That'll be done via Zoom on December 2nd at 4 p.m. Pacific time. Very excited about it. Rebecca has done this one again. It will be sort of tailored to the season that we are in. Very excited about it. If you want to level up and sort of explore your own self-care in meaningful, feely ways, I encourage you to join. It's $15. It's a 90-minute workshop with lots of great resources and things. You can sign up for that at feelyhuman.co and go to the workshops tab in the main menu there. And the last thing I'll say is the site, the Feely Human shop, right now at feelyhuman.co/shop is buy one, get one free. So I am having this huge sale so I can do more cool stuff with this mental health community, lead more workshops, create more cool, feely things for all of you lovely people. So if you want to support me and the work that I do, go to feelyhuman.co/shop and do a buy one, get one free. Okay, I think that's it. Don't forget to go to Sarah's show on December 11th. Again, tickets are at Elysian Theater, ELYSIAN theater.com/hahahole. Or you can just go to the show notes at feelyhuman.co/episodes. You'll find Sarah's episode there. And thank you for being a feely human. And thank you for being so wonderful and leading with your heart. And remember that you're not alone. You're not alone. You know, our mental health sometimes wants to make us feel that we're alone, but we're not. You're not. You have us. You have me. We have each other. So thank you for listening and enjoy this chat with the wonderful Sara Schaefer.
La la la, you, me, empathy, yeah, la la la.
Welcome to You, Me, Empathy, the official podcast of the Feely Human Collective. On this show, we explore the struggles, the triumphs, the brights and the darks we face as humans trying to get by on this wondrous and overwhelming pale blue dot. The intent of You, Me, Empathy is to talk openly, without judgment, about our mental health, our neuroses, our shared anxieties and worries, to create a dialogue that is vulnerable and deeply human and empathetic, and to share that dialogue with others to inspire emotional and cognitive collaboration and insight, so we can, hand in hand, break down the stigma that make us feel shame and guilt for struggling, for feeling our feelings, for being feely humans. You, Me, Empathy is a safe, friendly space designed to inspire the beauty in each of us. Today, I am overjoyed to be taking a grand adventure through a river of feelings, and I may or may not be, in this very moment, flexed, sitting on a groover, with Emmy Award-winning writer, comedian, creator of the Schaefer Shakedown. It's Sara Schaefer. Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Happy to have you.
Thanks so much for having me. What a lovely introduction.
Well, I just finished your book yesterday. I listened to it on Audible.
You went above and beyond.
Not really.
You.
I love books. Just broadly, book lover.
Mm-hmm.
Love books.
Mm-hmm.
Had a book themed wedding. Real book nerd over here.
Okay. I see a few in the background.
Met my wife, Jessica, on Goodreads, in fact.
Oh, wow.
Yes. Yeah. Real deep nerddom here.
Yeah.
But yeah, when a guest is coming on and they have a book, I try to read it. And I was so grateful to have read yours.
Thank you.
Yeah, you bet. So, Sara, we always kick off the show with an emotional check-in. How are you feeling?
I'm a little blah today, but good. Not the worst. A little tired. A little anxious. I'm very busy right now, and so I have a lot of things I'm trying to get done, and I get blocks until I can get past a certain task. I'm agitated. And there's a task right now that I'm not done with, and it's bugging me.
I feel that. I feel the tiredness. I feel the task agitation stuff. What is there, so what helps me in those moments is to just to sort of pile drive through the task. Are there moments that help you to maybe pause or take breaks? Or are you just I just need to get through this?
Well, it's procrastination
Sure.
which is usually brought on by anxiety and negative thinking that's telling me I shouldn't do it. It's not good. It sucks. It's my podcast.
I love your podcast.
I know, but I get it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Because, I do it, how it is to do a podcast, and I'm very busy outside of it. And I'm also I've done a lot of podcasts over the years, and this one, I'm taking my time with it. I'm like maybe posting once a month. Like I'm doing it for me.
Right.
First and foremost, a place to talk about things that I feel like I can't talk about anywhere else. And I like to write a lot of it and think a lot about what I'm going to say. And then I'll do like also a little audio sketch, and it's gone way better than I thought it was going to. Like the videos, especially that I've made from the podcast, those audio sketches have gone viral like repeatedly.
Yeah, they're wonderful.
And so I've put pressure on myself to keep that pace, that quality, keep that quality level up. And so but every time I do an episode, it's like my brain doesn't remember. Like, remember last time you felt the same exact way? And the moment you sat down and started working on it, it all just started flowing.
Mm-hmm.
And so I do the typical, sometimes the tricks that a lot of people know, which is like, just work for 20 minutes on it.
Yeah.
And usually that will get you going. That breaks open the block. Or go on a walk. I do an voice to text to speech app, and I'll talk out loud as I'm walking, writing almost like I'm writing out loud.
Nice.
And it's usually a mess, like when you get the document back, but it's in there. All my ideas are in there for me to remember. So I'll do that. But this one, I'm trying to talk about things that are hard for me that I'm scared to talk about, which is like on this episode, I'm trying to hit some things that I'm really nervous about saying. So I think that's part of why I'm agitated.
I get that. So what you said at the top of your, what you said was that struck me as important is in reminding, certainly I remind myself of this, is like, I'm doing this for me, right? Mm-hmm. And like, because like, I mean, especially in your world and comedy and, all that and sort of being a personality and Twitter, all this stuff, there's like a currency of like one-upsmanship. There's a currency of like, look at me now. There's a currency of like all of that. And that's, I'd imagine like, you have to play that game, right? That's like part of the thing. And at the same time, like trying to find the balance, or maybe not, that's not the right word, but of like, well, this is also for me too. Like, and I think leaning on that piece will be important. Yeah.
The answer is in what we just said, which is doing it for me. And that's why it's working. That's why other people like it.
Yeah.
And why it resonates, because I'm doing work that is truly a pure expression, but it's also very intentional. And I think that's what I've been burned in the past from this podcast. I started it being like, I'm going to talk about all kinds of different stuff. I'm going to just try anything. And it's become a lot about me talking about my business, comedy. And I love talking about the business of comedy. I love talking about women in comedy and the debates of free speech and stuff like that. I love talking about that stuff. And I find it because I'm like fascinated by it, but I've always thought that it's too navel gazing or no one wants to hear that. And I've gotten harassed very badly online when I express this stuff. Or it's when you talk about your own business, you're talking about your peers. Sometimes you have stories that could potentially get them in trouble, or sounds like you're shit talking or whatever. And there's so much emphasis in our business on reputation. And so I've been through a lot. I've been doing this for 20 years, which is crazy to think about. And um, I've been burned by my recklessness in the past, of saying things, telling stories, firing off a tweet, and not thinking about what was going to come back. And now in this podcast and in my work lately, I've been trying to be intentional and go, it's okay to say the things I want to say, and I have to go into it knowing, and yeah, some people might not like it.
Yeah. That will always be the case.
But so do it in a way that makes me feel good about it, yes. And so like, if you're going to get shit back for your controversial opinion, which is like, my opinions aren't controversial, like, or if it ruffles feathers of certain people, if you're going to do that, I want to do it in a way that I feel proud of and like take Absolutely. My time with.
Yeah.
And write and have it be comedy. Have it be good writing and at least like an artistic endeavor, and not just me going blah, 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 blah. And then now I'm fighting with somebody online about it. And it's like, What was the point of this? It didn't do anything for me.
Well, yeah. I mean, I so resonate with this because I think a part of it is, I was just having a conversation with someone about this realm, and I'm struggling in sort of the work I do in my day job of, like, what
is your day job?
So I work in we help people start little businesses and podcasts and whatnot. Mm-hmm. And and on one hand, I'm like, yes, this is good. We're sort of allowing people to sort of step out of the grind, step away from sort of like the toxicity of business and capitalism. And yet it's still in that space. And so I know. The passionate idealist in me wants to fucking burn it all down. Right.
Yeah.
And and that's the part of me that's would go on Twitter. Thankfully, I'm not on Twitter. Would go on Twitter and be like, fuck it all. And then, and I think what I came to is the real work is in taking pause, finding sort of my voice in that pause and that space, in that curiosity, in that softness, and then do the thing with real intent. And yet, and yes, of course, people are going to be like, fuck you, because people are people and you can't please everyone. Yeah. But at least you'll know that you did the work of all right, I'm doing the work. Now I'm going to show up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's it. Gosh, that's very good. That's exactly what I feel.
I love it. Well, I will just say, as I know your podcast is pretty new, but it shows, it certainly shows that you're showing up with intent. You're showing up as yourself, and you're talking about the stuff that really matters. And that is the stuff that I eat up. That's the stuff that's close to my heart. I'm tired of the do these 3 things and you'll achieve enlightenment. That's not the world that we live in. I want to see people for who they are, right?
Yeah. 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 The sharing of stories and in your lives, I think is so it's what I crave, I'd much rather hear someone, speak from their heart, even if it's something written or, whatever art medium they're using. If it's a pure expression of who they are, that is better to me than somebody who clearly is just trying to get rich, or famous or whatever the grift is. But,
and that has, I mean, I am over here and I'm just an independent podcaster, and I have, I'm not in the world of comedy. I'm what I want to remind the listeners of, for context, is that, Sara, you said it yourself. You've been in comedy for 20 years. You're in that space. You're in Hollywood. You're in the space of that feigning, that sort of preening and feigning of authenticity that we do, and the armor that we put up to sort of gain and to climb the ladder, whatever metaphor you want to use. And it's hard to find nuance when you just want to fuck this shit, especially, as being a woman in the space that's so often toxic and white male dominated. It's got to be hard.
Well, and I think I've found now I have so much more perspective on it all, and I'm always fighting the I always say it's like two lanes, the lane, your money making lane, and then your big dream or your creative, pure self lane.
I like that.
And sometimes those are not the same lanes. A lot of times they're not. And so yeah, I feel the feeling of like, I'm going to burn it all down. Fuck this shit. I'm going to just say whatever, and I'm going to name names, and it would be so freeing. And then it's like, oh, but I really do need a job. And but what I found with this podcast, the videos that have gone viral, like, so what I do is I record the podcast just like anybody else, but I also video it so that I can do this. I'll do like one sketch per episode that's like kind of an audio sketch, but I'm filming it. And so then I'll put just that sketch on Twitter or Instagram as my way of promoting the podcast. And those videos have gone viral. Like, it's crazy. I did not expect it. And they're usually about comedy or Hollywood or whatever, and they resonate with people. And I am being a little edgy in them, in that I am like poking fun at a few people by name, like a Joe Rogan or Dave Chappelle. I'm poking fun at the system I'm in.
Yeah.
And it's a little scary to put that stuff out there because of past harassment I've gotten or comments I've gotten from other comics. But I've kind of moved past worrying about it so much, even though, literally the other day I got an email to the public email address I have that was so cruel. I was just like, and it hurt.
As a response to some of the videos?
Yeah, I don't know for sure, but I have this one guy who's been trolling me for, no joke, like 8 years with the most cruel shit. And he'll just pop up every couple months. And it's usually when I'm commenting on comedy. For some reason, when I'm commenting on my own life and my own business that I know the most about, that's when it bothers him. I don't know who this person is. I don't think it's anyone I know, but it's just clearly someone very sick. But I'm done figuring out their psychology. Like, I don't care. It's like, just, I never engage. I never respond anymore. I never do anything because I'm just like, all this person wants is my attention and to fight. And I'm not doing all that. So, but anyway, I put these videos out and they like go viral and they feel slightly risky, but like I'm in control of the message because I'm making jokes in it, which is like what I've been thinking a lot about lately, about how frustrated I am with the hypocrisy and the double standards of like someone like Dave Chappelle gets defended so fiercely by people blindly, like people are just like, if you don't get it, then you're not a real comedian.
It's such a strange take.
Huh?
Yeah. Why do you think that? Because I heard that too, and I haven't watched the special, though.
Clearly you didn't watch it. So that's why you don't think it's funny. You didn't watch it. Well, if you watched it, then you would understand. It's like, huh? Like, I read a quote of it. I know what it is. Like, don't worry. I get it.
There's this fierce defensiveness that happens, right? Mm-hmm. Like, we get it. Like, I'll get it. Here's an example. I'll get it from my mother, who is very rigid evangelical Christian. And so sort of like anything that sort of disrupts that framework, you better fucking watch out, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like a similar thing. And I think in many respects, from my perspective, what's that?
Authoritarian.
It's authoritarian. It's like it's fear based.
Right. Yeah. All of that. I have my way of understanding the world, and it involves control of other people. And if somebody comes and tries to disrupt that at all, I'm going to double down and be even stronger authoritarian and stronger, hard no, no, because that is such a delicate, it's like a survival mode. And like, if it's disrupted at all, they feel like they're free falling.
Survival is the right word. Yeah.
I do see that as like similar in this hero worship of certain comedy heroes or comedy ideals. There's a certain group of people who just can't, like, objectively, like everyone I know that's seen the Dave Chappelle, the recent one, and even the past few, are like, it's not his best work. These are like low level, maybe. I remember a few years ago being like, this is like year 3 stand-up comedy, meaning you're 3 years in, this is the level that you're doing. Some of it. Yeah. But this past one seems, and I didn't watch it. I don't give a shit. I don't have to watch it to have an opinion on it. But I read everything, and I've talked to friends who have seen it. And I think the defensiveness and the blind hero worship comes from that like fear of like, well, if I admit that it wasn't good, the Emperor's New Clothes, you know, if I admit, then my whole identity becomes in question. And it's like,
it's identity. Yeah.
You know, and there's a lot I've noticed in comedy, particularly for some reason, I call it Shithead Island, which is like where a certain sect of this comedy fan lives, and they have their identity as a fandom around certain podcasters, like, or certain comedians, or just the idea of comedy, and they think they own it, and they think it's parasocial. It's like I have a say. I get my identity from being a fan of all of this, and it makes me cool or special or funny or whatever. Yeah. And then if somebody comes in and goes, knock, knock, hi, what you think isn't really real for everybody else, or some people don't like it, you know, then they go on the attack as a group to try and squash the rebellion, or, you know, like to scapegoat. And I mean, poor Hannah Gatsby, it's like, what did she do? Sure. Other than that, Dave Chappelle, you know, if you don't know, Dave Chappelle name checked her recently in a video.
Oh, really?
Where he further is complaining. By the way, he said in the special, like, I'm done talking about this. Literally like a month later, a few weeks later, he puts out a video of him talking about it still. He was, in fact, not done talking about it. But in that video, at the end, he's like, he makes fun of Hannah Gatsby, who's a comedian from Australia, originally Tasmania. And she had a special called Nanette, which was, I thought, incredible. I saw it before it was, I saw it in person in Edinburgh with no discourse around it. I just heard it was good, and I went to it, and I thought, fuck, that was really good. And then it comes to America, and people are just flipping out. Like, they're just like, this is ruining comedy. She's killing it. Nah, you know, like this woman who did it. And my theory is that a lot of the hatred towards her, one is, you know, just very basic other, you know, she's an other. She's
othering, yeah.
Especially in comedy. Like, she's not who we traditionally in America, you know, praise as being the funny. She's a gender nonconforming lesbian woman. And who is she? How dare she come in here and try to define comedy for herself, by the way. She wasn't saying it was what everyone else had to do. And she didn't follow the American system, the clubs. She didn't work her way up in the boys club here. And she got a lot of praise. She won an Emmy Award. She was the talk of the town, and that was unacceptable. It wasn't what she said, because lots of shitty specials that you don't like. I mean, comedy's subjective. There's a million specials out there, comedy specials out there, that you may or may not like. But this one bothered people so much because of the critical acclaim it got.
Right.
And that people were going, she's changing comedy. A critic said that. She didn't say that.
Right, right.
You know, somebody writing a blog said that. Like, not you know, and I think that it was, one, she wasn't I think people want to define who gets to do comedy, what is comedy, and she came in and blew all that up in 1 hour of stand-up. And it was her self-expression. It wasn't her saying everybody else has to do it the way I'm doing it.
Yeah.
But they took it as that, and it was dangerous to them, threatening, which I find it so funny. That was 3-4 years ago that came out, and they're still mad. It's like one special.
It is. it's disheartening to me, and it exists everywhere. Like you use the word rebellion, and I like the first thing that came to my mind was like Star Wars nerds, right? It's the same type of thing, right? Like
Yeah,
when
it's a
someone has
fandom
like
thing.
a
Yeah.
different version of a thing, they get upset, right? And it's
Mhm.
because of that identity piece. They're attached to it so much, and they're operating in a space that for whatever reason they think it's a scarcity mindset. That like
Yes.
someone can't have their thing and make it the way they want, and somehow that takes away from their thing. Right?
Exactly.
It's so weird.
I was with some comedians right after Nanette came out at a festival, and everyone was talking about it, and they were so mad. And they were just like, fuck that. It wasn't even comedy. It's not even funny. God, this is going to fucking ruin it for everybody else. And I was like, what? I was like, wait, what? Wait, people are mad? What? This was the first rumblings I'd heard. And I was like, what do you mean? What is she going to do to you? And they were like, well, that's what the industry is going to want now. Oh, some one woman show about your abuse being, oh, I'm a disabled lesbian. And they start doing it. I mean, it was very bigoted what they were saying. Yeah. And I said, no, that's not going to happen. I was like, you think that Netflix is only going to buy Nanettes now? I was like, that's not going to happen. I was like, check in 1 year and then we'll talk. In 1 year, they didn't do that. They're giving specials to mostly their type of comedian. And it's just like, what are you even talking about?
Yeah.
And I'm like, if you want to talk about a scarcity mindset, talk about how they gave one comic $70 million to do specials, and then they won't give most of the other comics, 10,000.
There you go.
It's like, it was that, by the way, one of those people, I'm not going to name names, but one of the people in that green room that was scared shitless of Nanette is now a millionaire. Like, for being a podcaster with a huge fan base. And it's like, did she ruin it for you? Are you canceled? It's like,
it's upsetting.
It's a symbiotic thing too, of like the comedian, that type of comedian goes, I'm under attack. I'm being threatened. Everything we love and know, we're a family, fans. Fam. They're coming for me. What are we going to do? Attack. And so then the fans attack on behalf of their God, and it's a nice little grift if you can.
Yeah. We have to protect this thing at all costs.
The reason I bring all that up, even to begin with, is relating back, because I've been thinking about a lot of this about my podcast and the work I'm doing right now, of just, I really have this feeling of like, I'm angry at the harm that I think comes from bigoted jokes. I'm never someone who's going to say, I'm not a free speech police type person.
Yeah.
But also realistically, like I am questioning. I'm like, well, what are you trying to achieve with your comedy?
Sure.
And your one definition of what comedy should be is not mine. And that's art. Art should never be talked about that way. As soon as you start with should, art should do this, comedy should do that, you've already lost the plot. But I just wonder, I personally don't want my comedy to cause harm for anybody. What is the point if I'm hurting people? I mean, like, you got into comedy to hurt people? I don't understand. So, but when people, so aside from that conversation of offensive jokes that perpetuate negative stereotypes, and all of that stuff that causes real world harm, that's a huge part of this. But aside from that, I'm not angry at comedians for like running their mouths and getting into controversies and drumming up fans. And, I'm inspired by it. I'm like, look how free they are. These people who claim that they can't say anything anymore are so free to say whatever they want, and they're rewarded for it, and they make more and more money. And I've tried to take a note, a page from that notebook and go, I'm over here so worried about the consequences of every little word I say. Maybe it's time to just be a little less restricted and to, follow my, my guide, internal guide of like, am I harming anyone by saying this? And my rules for myself about how I want to do comedy, and then the rest, just let it go,
Yeah. I love that. And I think that's admirable. So has it taken a while to get to that space? Like, cause I know, being in the world of comedy and being in that, toxic environment, I know it's probably weighs on you at times.
Yeah, I mean, it's really, really tough. Like I'm in therapy, and, half of what I talk about with her has to do with navigating my business, because I think that my personality may not jive with what works for a lot of people. And like,
how would you describe your personality?
Oh God.
I guess, how would you describe yourself?
Granny.
Gentle granny? That's what you said?
And yes. But with like a real streak of bitter, like rage.
Yeah. You have some darkness.
Yeah,
which
I'm
I appreciate.
pretty dark.
Yeah.
But I'm, and I think I can be self-absorbed if I'm talking negatively about myself, but,
sure. We all can.
Yeah, but, I don't know. I think I'm curious, and I love learning new things, and I love art and talking about art, and making things.
I know you do, and it's what I love about you. So when I think about art, like, and you said like there should be no shoulds in art, which I agree. Art is can be this beautiful force for good and connection and curiosity and critical thinking and just all that like good, rich stuff. And I think that is the space we should operate. Like, but I think it's the control piece, it's the fear, it's the identity piece that like we try to make a thing, we try to put these things into boxes, when reality, like art is anarchy in a way, right? But again, we have these systems at play that are seemingly impenetrable. Capitalism, masculinity, toxic masculinity, racism, like all these like systems at play that seem to be impenetrable at times. But I think you're doing a good job, from what I've heard on your podcast and the stuff that you've done. Like, I think here's the thing. I think the world, and especially comedy, rewards like big, grand gestures, romantic gestures. Some guy saying something stupid and then he gets 1 million hits and whatever, right? Yeah. But I think the real work, and this is maybe where it's hard as a comedian because you want to like fucking eat food, is like, I think the real work in my mind happens in small moments. Happens in like steady incremental steps, which is such a boring thing when you're like transposing that onto a thing like comedy.
Well, that's what, I've known so many different people in comedy over the years, and some are, they're pure artists and they don't have one lick of business sense. And they never really get past a certain level in their life, in their work, in the compensation, I guess, they receive. And I look at some of them are incredibly happy how they are, and some are bitter.
Sure.
And then you have some then I know people who are incredibly wealthy, famous, will never have to worry about the stability of their career, really. Like they worry about it, but they're fine and they're going to be fine.
Yeah.
And they're very business savvy and they make moves, and and some of them are happy, a lot of them aren't. And so I found that like you can't, and as I'm in the middle of those two extremes, I think have learned that it's not all or nothing. Like that having the money making lane, and or operating in the system within which we exist,
yes.
and trying to not be ruined by it simultaneously is very difficult. But I used to have big dreams of like, oh, I'm gonna have a second home, and we're gonna have. Oh, I would just have, I had stars in my eyes of the glamorous life that I was going to live. I do think my life is somewhat glamorous.
Hey, you garden, you do miniatures.
Yeah,
you do have a glamorous life.
I live in LA.
You live in LA. You're still in your early 40s.
I was going to live in Hollywood. They'd be like, ah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Little girl from Virginia.
I've done lots of really amazing, luxurious things. And my parents taught me how to be luxurious even when you didn't have it, so that's a whole separate thing. But like now I'm like, I don't even really care about that anymore, because I don't know if it's going to happen, but I also don't know if I really want it. But it's more like, I just want to make sure that when I'm old, I'm in a nursing home where they don't assault you in your bed.
That's.
I just want to make sure that I'm in the one where I'm not covered in lice. Like
Jesus. That's a reasonable dream to have, Sarah.
It's really changed,
Yeah. No, you've gone from second house to like not being assaulted and deliced.
Because I'm like old and don't have any other options. But that's like, so I'm trying to use these last, who knows how long I'll be able to work in this business, but like this, the next 20 years in the biz, I hope I'll be able to set myself up for a pleasant, elderly, retirement life, and I don't have kids. So like,
yeah.
Not that you can rely on your kids, even if you do have them, to take care of you when you're old. But, I got to set myself up.
Yeah.
And I'd love to get to it faster. I'd like to have an early retirement.
Yeah. Do you think like the stuff that you're, transitioning in some ways into like these miniature comedy shows and the podcasts and things like that, like, do you think those are the types of things that will transition you sort of out of like having to be on stage all the time, for instance?
I don't know. That is an interesting question that I have been thinking about, of like, my dream is to have like a few acres of land somewhere, and
yes,
the dream, a little homestead. And we've actually started like thinking about it for real, like where would it be, and
that's
what
exciting.
is it that we really want? And in some places, I'm like, we could do this now because it's cheap there or whatever. But that question comes up of like, well, how am I going to work? And right now it seems so possible because everything's over Zoom still. And like, but when people start going, oh, we want to work in person again, that changes the conversation. Totally. But if I'm touring, I don't necessarily have to live anywhere in particular. But in terms of live performance, I don't know. I have some things I'm trying to achieve, and I want to see how those go in the next year. And I'm working on some stuff that it does, like, that's different. I'm like trying to get away from worrying about the stand-up comedy trope. Like, you have to do this and you got to work towards this. And it's like, well, I've done the half hour on Comedy Central. I had a talk show.
Yeah.
I never got a late night set, which was something that was a big goal of mine, but I got rejected by every show over and over and over again. Which was, I have thoughts on that, but they don't really even do them really much anymore. And it's becoming, there's so much fewer opportunity for that. So it's like, and I don't really care about it anymore.
There you go.
But so I've done those things. So I'm like, okay, that took a lot of work on a certain type of performance that I had to nail to get. And I did it. And now I'm kind of wanting to go back to how I was when I first started doing comedy, which was I would do music and I would do videos and like anything different I loved. And now I'm like, well, I'm doing these miniatures and I'm doing, I'm like, I'm ready to just not be regular anymore. And because I have now 20 years of writing experience, I know how to write a joke. There's no question. So what if I now went back to the weird stuff, but with the skills I have, and I want to see what happens.
That. I love that.
Yeah.
So one of the things that has been true for me, and I'm wondering if it's been true for you, is this, like, so you're a couple years older than me, or a few years older. I just turned 40 in July. July birthday buddies.
Hey, congrats.
Thanks. Which is this, like, as I like come into myself, as I start doing more of the stuff that like feels right and aligns with who I am, there's a lot of grief involved in it.
Mm-hmm.
And by that, I mean like people are left behind. The things that used to be a part of my identity are no longer part of my identity. I'm letting those things go. Like, have you experienced some of that grief?
I've never thought of it as grief, but yeah, I mean, now that you put it that way, for sure. I mean, I have had to let go of things and people, that I thought would be a part of a dream. I think letting go of certain dreams is very difficult. Of like, oh, I used to dream that I was going to do this or that, and now it just doesn't look like that's going to happen. It doesn't mean it won't.
Right.
But I have to pick. I don't have time anymore. Maybe it's the energy. I do feel like I have less energy I did. And I'm like, I miss that. I miss the like nonstop work ethic that I had. But that is another thing that I've been thinking about too, with like capitalism and all that, of like, it really was drilled into my brain to work hard. And I took great pride in how hard I worked.
Yeah.
And I still am a hard worker. I'm still, but now I'm trying to learn how to work efficiently and not, and to give myself plenty of time to rest and just be do my own thing and not worry and not put pressure on myself to like constantly be trying. It's hard though, because I have a million ideas and I want to see them come to life.
Same.
And I get scattered, and I've always been that way. I've always had a million different ideas, and sometimes that holds me back because I can't just focus on one thing. But I think grieving my youth a little bit, I've definitely now been facing the physical appearance part of this whole puzzle for a woman in Hollywood and comedy.
Yeah. And
in my mind, I don't look the way I used to. And I definitely backed away from even trying. I mean, there was only a brief window where I really was trying to look hot. I mean, I wasn't even trying. It was like I had a TV show and they made me look that way.
Right.
I wasn't capable. I've never been able to do my own hair and makeup the way they do on TV. Some people can do that. I can't.
Sure.
And it's just not interesting to me. No,
right.
I'm like, life is too short. I'm not going to figure out how to make my eyebrows look good. But, I definitely have had to like, oh, right. Like I don't look the way I used to. And I can sense this feeling of being passed over, which is really scary to think about, only because I want to work.
Yeah. It
has nothing to do with, I do not get my value from my appearance.
Yeah.
I think as early as elementary school, I just knew I wasn't the pretty girl, but I also knew I wasn't the ugliest. So I just sort of rode the middle, So I've been very lucky, and I've been naturally skinny most of my life, so I have a lot coming to the table that has made that easy for me.
Yeah, sure.
So I can't possibly judge others for how they navigate the world of being, an attractive woman or man. in our business, but I have started to wonder, like, oh, I don't get asked to do it, certain things, and I don't get asked to be on camera anymore. And that had already started, I think, because I wasn't pushing for it. I wasn't like desperate to be on camera.
Right.
I don't have to be on camera. That's not really, but I did really, when I am doing stuff, particularly the stuff we did on Nikki and Sarah, like sketches and things like that, or like hosting and, or, any short film type thing, like anything where I think it's really funny and I love doing it. And I think I have some ability, but no one thinks of me to go, hey, Sarah, like I have friends who sell shows and they're not like, hey, Sarah, they're like, Sarah, they're never like, Sarah, would you want to audition? Like nobody asks me, and my agents don't send me on anything. Like they won't even write me back now. And I'm just like, what's going on? Like, but I am not projecting that in the world. So is it that I don't want it anymore? So I'm thinking about those things of like, I feel like I'm at all these different forks in the road.
Yeah.
And I don't want to close the door on certain things. And I realized almost everything big I've gotten in my career is because I started making it myself in some way, shape, and form first.
There you go. Yeah.
And just doing it myself and not waiting for permission. And, my talk show on MTV, which is the outwardly biggest creative success I've had. That came from me doing a podcast on my own with someone else. But like, that all started, the DIY nature, and so all these things have come from those moments. And so now I'm like, well, I have a couple ideas for like a short film. And you have to show people. So if you have something you want to do, unfortunately nowadays you have to show them that you can do it first.
Right.
They're not going to just be like, who I would think would be great for this. Sometimes they will, but that's because that person has been putting themselves out there going.
Well, what strikes me as interesting about this is like, I appreciate you sort of commenting on this because like right now, as we're recording, there's like all this striking that's happening in the industry of Hollywood and film and stuff like that. And I think to its betterment, hopefully, because, just to be clear to listeners, like just a great deal of like employee exploitation, just overwork and all of this stuff. And I think that's the systemic issue that we're all facing, obviously in Hollywood, but across the board is like working hard, checking the boxes, being productive. That's an intrinsic value. And I think steering away from this like work as an intrinsic value is probably will behoove us. But I think also like it doesn't take away from the fact that like, like working hard feels good. Like we can have both things. We can one sort of scrutinize and use our critical thinking around like, well, is this good for people? And we could be proud of the work we do. Like it goes back to what you said. It's not like you said something along the lines of like, it's not this versus that. Like we can have all of the things and let's just be curious about them all. Right. Yeah.
I mean, I'm trying to like not close the door on certain dreams because I don't want to be ageist to myself.
There you go.
Oh, you don't get to do that. You're too old for that now. You're not a hot young thing anymore. And I don't mean physically. I just mean like, you're not, the new shiny nickel on the scene. So nobody cares, Sarah. I just don't think that's, you can find a million examples of how that isn't true for a lot of people. And I think the way I get work, and I think this is very common for people in my position, in my business, is the freelance lifestyle, I guess, is what you would call it, where I am working on jobs maybe 3 months at a time max. And when it's over, a lot of times I don't know what's coming next. I usually cannot tell you what I'm going to be doing 3 months from now at any given point.
Right.
It's really hard to plan my life because of that. And it's hard to not have that stability. And so I'm constantly being faced with the choice over and over and over again. I'm in it right now. I've just got an email today of like, do you want to work on this thing? I'm so fortunate where I just get asked to work on stuff now. I get asked all the time from people coming up, like, how do you get jobs in this business? How do you get writing jobs? And it's like, well, I'm at the point now where they come to me, but they pick up when I have a viral video. I'm suddenly getting emails from producers I've worked with in the past who remember me. Right. And they go, oh, Sarah, are you free to do whatever? You got to be top of mind. So how can you be top of mind? Well, sometimes that means by pushing your stuff out there.
Yeah.
But I'm very fortunate to be getting offers on things a lot. And thank God, because of COVID, all of my income that I had off of stand-up just went away. And I haven't gotten back into that. I haven't gone back on the road at all yet. Just one little thing I did in September, but that was it. And
at Largo.
And no, I did Largo. I'm talking a road gig. Like I did a gig in Indiana. Got it. But like touring is where you're going to make most of your money doing stand up. But so these writing jobs I'm constantly making this choice over and over again, which is, should I take this job? Money or freedom? And that's I'll set it up in my mind as that. And sometimes I have to say no to things so that I can have time. Back in April, I was offered 2 writing, maybe even 3 writing jobs that I said no to all of them. And one of them was like a lot of money. And I was like, fuck, should I? But none of them were like what I really wanted to be doing. So,
So is it like stability versus freedom or consistency?
A little bit. I mean, freedom? Well, because you just don't know. It's like you don't have a crystal ball. Like, what if I don't get another offer for a year? Because I've gone a full year or more without getting any work. I mean, you have to be ready for all of that.
Right.
And so I said no to those jobs in April. And that's when I started my podcast and I built the mini club and all these other things have come from that. I was probably ended up being 3 full months of just not working and doing whatever I wanted, my creative work. And so I think I have to, I'm always at that crossroads of like, okay, like when I get an email asking if I want to work on something, I go, oh God.
Is it anxiety? Do you filled with anxiety?
Yeah. I'm like, oh, this isn't, unless it's like a dream job. Well, then I'm like, but I'm not getting those emails right now. I'm getting emails for things that just, I'm weighing I'm like, is it union? Okay, good. Mm-hmm. It's union.
Yeah.
Now I can consider it for real. Okay. Do I have to go anywhere? How long is it? What does it require of me? And, I'm so fortunate to have those choices, but I'm not fortunate enough to just dismiss everything stupid that comes into my inbox. Right. And I go, oh, I guess I do have to write for this thing that I don't really care about. Yeah. But that's okay. Cause, but it is a constant wager. I feel like I'm constantly gambling. Like, I'm really going to regret saying no to that, but something always comes.
Yeah. Something always comes.
So, but it feels like, I feel like I'm heading towards a cliff where that's not going to be sustainable anymore. And what if I don't have the proper reserves left? That's what I feel like now that I'm in my 40s. I'm like, we got to figure out retirement. Like, I'm like, how are we going to pay for it? Because I don't want to, I'm worried, because if you look around and even in behind the camera in Hollywood, older women are few and far between. Right. I am usually and I'm 43, I'm usually the oldest person in the writer's room. Wow. So right now I'm not sometimes, but most of the time I am the oldest. I'm definitely the oldest woman. And a lot of times I'm the only woman, but like, So I'm like, well, what point do they stop hiring us? Like, at what point are they like, we don't want old mom, grandma around? I don't know. So I got to figure
Gentle
these
granny.
things out.
Yeah.
I'm like, but I'll help. I'll bake cookies for the staff. You let me in. I'll do it.
There you go. You just make sweaters for everyone.
But older men don't get treated that way because they're treated kind of like, oh, wow, this guy just knows his shit. He's a fucking legend. And I'm like usually the one in the writer's room that's like, I know more than everybody in here combined. Not to brag, but like some shows, not all, but some shows I am like clearly the most experienced. Even the head writer is, not with it. And I'm like, hey, well, I'm running the whole thing and I'm not getting compensated for it.
Yeah, I mean, there's something to speak for experience, and then there's also the lens of women have to work harder to prove their worth.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And, I think the key for me is creating work that I control and I'm in charge of, I'm the boss, and grow those things, into my own empire that I can literally a mini empire that I control, or to start really pushing, which I think I'm ready for. I've been ready, which for these more senior positions like head writer or showrunner and things like that, where I'm at least being compensated for the experience I have.
Yeah.
And that's a whole separate conversation about how in Hollywood, for TV writing, for comedy variety shows, which is my bread and butter. So like talk shows, game shows, award shows, anything that isn't a scripted show, usually it falls into comedy variety. And in terms of the Writers Guild, and this is just talking about union work, we don't have the same setup as the scripted writers do. We don't make nearly as much money as they do. And so, the whole Writers Guild contract with the studios is pretty much set up for scripted. And they talk to you a little bit like, well, because not to get too in the weeds, but to get health insurance, for instance, in the Writers Guild, you have to make a certain amount of money under covered Writers Guild work per year. And they do the math on that by saying it's the equivalent of what you would get paid for one, I think, half hour or 1 hour teleplay. So everything is based on scripted TV.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, so they're like, so all you have to do basically is get hired on one 13-week contract on a show. Boom, you've made your minimum. That's not how it works in comedy variety. A lot of times the jobs are 2 weeks. They're here and there. They're random. They don't follow the same sort of system. And so you're cobbling together this living and you're not even making the amount of money that you should be making. And so that's a big fight coming for the Writers Guild. I mean, all this stuff with IATSE, that union, it's the same issues are facing pretty much everybody in Hollywood. And I think hopefully, I don't know the details yet of the contract in terms of if they're going to ratify it or not. I think it's pretty fraught. I don't know. They're going to vote on it. They may not have avoided a strike. I have no idea. But these same issues are what we're dealing with too, which is these studios are making so much money. And they're making more and more money each year that goes by, and they're not sharing, with the people that actually create the product, So
it's so messed up. Do you think does the strike and the IATSE stuff, does that give you hope, or do you feel a little?
It gives me hope because I was on the negotiating committee for the Writers Guild the last time, and it was last summer. And it was at the height of it was in the beginning of the pandemic where it really was like, oh my God, what is happening?
Right. And
we knew we didn't have strike power. We knew that the union wasn't going to strike given the circumstances of the pandemic and how everything was closed down and disrupted. There's no way there was going to be an appetite for a strike. So we lost a lot of our bargaining power. We still managed to get some things, but not much. And I said at that time, I thought, my prediction is that, because we do it every 3 years, my prediction is that next time around, there's going to be a very strong appetite for a strike because there are some some existential questions about streaming and things like that, which is what IATSE has been doing too, that have to be figured out or we will be crushed. And I think given everything that's happened, the writers are going to be primed, and so anything that another union does in Hollywood in production affects the other unions. And so any advances they make helps the others.
Right.
It's when a union gives in too easy that makes it harder, actually. So our hope, I don't think anyone wants a strike. I think everyone wants it to be averted. They want the studios to give us what we deserve without having to strike. That's what everyone wants. But every gain, whether it's achieved through a threat of strike or through strike, is beneficial down the line for the other unions, because those are things we can all point to and go, this is the right thing to do. This is the fair thing to do. But what I learned from the negotiations, which was told to me, is that they do not respond to moral appeals, which is really disturbing.
Interesting.
They don't respond to anything to do with morality.
So if you say this is the right thing, they just ignore that stuff.
Care.
Yeah.
It's
Wow.
sick. And it's it makes sense. You look at any big corporation with a lot of money on the line, they are not making decisions based on what's right. Very few, some do, but they are very few and far between.
Yeah, I just read this headline that was Elon Musk's fortune, 2% of Elon Musk's fortune would solve world hunger.
Yeah, no,
2%.
It's unreal, the amount of wealth. I saw a thing that was Elon Musk donated $100 million to Texas schools or something like that. And I was that's great. And, God bless those schools. And I'm glad that they have more money. But I'm why don't you round up a bill, a billion, you've got 700 billion. I did the math and it was that would be if I gave 32 cents to a public school and was I'm a hero.
Well, and that's certainly what he wants to hear is centering himself in that. Yeah.
Right. When you make an announcement that you're giving that kind of money somewhere, people go, oh my God, look, he's such a good person. It's no, let's do the math. My friend, she sued a boss of hers that harassed her. And I was in the courtroom. She won. And it was really one of the most interesting, but also harrowing things I've ever witnessed.
I bet.
But
wow.
I was there when the jury came back. It was so stressful.
Wow.
I had to testify. It was so stressful.
Oh my goodness. I would
it was
be
so. It was so I always just go imagine what. I know what she went through. She's one of my best friends, but it was horrible for her. It was traumatizing, but she ended up winning. But when they were doing the damages portion, I started to understand how civil suits work, and that there's a difference between what they call punitive damages and I don't know what the other term is. So you're going to get money for what they did to you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So those are I can't remember the term for it, but those are your initial set of money. And that's usually a much smaller amount. Punitive, pain and suffering, here's what we're going to give you for your pain and suffering.
Yeah. Punitive
damages is for sending a message. And I didn't know that there was a difference between these two types of damages. Punitive is what you do to punish the person and to send a message and say, we don't tolerate this in our society and you don't get to do this.
Right.
Unless you're going to pay out the ass. And that's the jury's job to decide what they think is fair. And so each side will go, here's what we think is fair. Now that the jury has come back and said he is liable for all counts or whatever, here's what we think he should pay. And her lawyer got up and he had this because this guy's a billionaire. He had a poster And it was so genius. I remember, I'll never forget the look on the jury's face when he put this poster up. He goes, okay, let's talk about what $1 billion is. So he puts up a poster and it's money bags. There's like perfect. 1,000 money bags, green. And then he goes, this is $1 billion. Each one of these represents $1 million. And it was all these money bags, like on a piece of poster board. And then he goes, and here's what $30 million is. He took it off, and then there was the same thing, but red. There were 30 red bags now. Yeah. And it was such a small corner of the huge 1,000 bags that you could see their faces. They were like, that's how much $1 billion is. $1 billion is. And I mean, they didn't give her 30, but like he was like, we ask for 30 so that you'll get, like 5.
Yeah.
And like, it was like, oh, and then this guy got, sorry, I'm going off, but this guy got sued by multiple, you can all look it up. His name's Alki David. He's a fucking nightmare. He was sued by like 10 women over the course of 2 years. He sexually harassed me.
Oh God.
The first time I met him. He didn't like assault me or anything, but like I could testify to like, okay, this guy's got a pattern of behavior or whatever.
Yep.
But he, we went to another one of his cases for the jury to come back, and they gave this other woman $50 million, like the full amount. They were like, no, we are not here to play. You will be punished.
Yeah.
And that's what the lawyer said. He was like, you have to tell this guy no. And he told a whole story about how like you have to send a message to a bully, that we don't accept. It has to hurt. You have to hurt them. And he's like, what hurts a billionaire is got to be more than what you as a regular person would think, you know? And so, sorry, that was a whole tangent.
No, I loved it.
So fascinating.
I mean, it made me think of Katie Porter here.
She just did that thing with the rice.
Well, yeah, she did that, and she she's known for doing that, and she's like, sort of
the
like
visual aid,
using the visual aids, and they're so powerful, especially to like a jury who's like, it's a big decision, it's a lot riding on their shoulders, and having that, it's pretty awesome.
Well, that's another thing I learned by going through that experience. Just mainly as an observer, for my friend. Is that the jury is so important, and I'll never try to get out of jury duty ever again. I mean, I don't want to do it. It sounds like a fucking nightmare, but people's lives are lying in a jury's hands. And so they need people who can pay attention, who aren't assholes. I mean, you could tell who on the jury, and like, not that you want to go in thinking I'm the best at being in the jury. I will, but if you're the right person for it, you should just let them decide.
Yeah.
And just do your duty, because if it was the other way around and you had a jury, you would want people there, as many people to pick from as possible, and not the weirdos who want to be on a jury, if that makes sense.
It does. So this is all making me think about, I have a pitch for you for future work for Sara Schaefer, which is this, sort of in tandem with these visual aids, use miniatures at jury settings, like in courtrooms, like this is how it works. And you make like, I don't know, little knives and such. Brilliant.
I am doing I am working on an idea with my miniatures that involves a show that would use miniatures as like as illustrative devices.
Nice.
And so I'm working on that idea now. But yeah, I think any way you can visualize a point to somebody, use
Golden.
it.
Yeah. How has your anxiety been in this past sort of year, pandemic wise?
Thankfully, going into it, I had a lot of work done, like Botox and stuff. I'm just kidding. It came out wrong.
I can tell.
No, I've done a lot of work on that. And I think writing my book was a huge like process of healing and like learning about myself and all that. The book came out during the pandemic, so it was on the tail end of that.
Yeah.
But I think more so than anxiety, because I have tools in place, like I have ways of dealing with it. But I think what's hit me with the pandemic more is more like depressive, like lack of energy, feeling sad, no motivation. What's the point? Like that kind of feeling, which I'm normally not like that. And so I've had longer periods of that, or just, hard. It's been harder to like be healthier and like eating right or whatever. And that has been disrupted, and that, not having, I've been working a lot, but it's all been from home. I'm used to it now and I like it, but there were times where it was just like, I miss those days of commuting somewhere.
Totally.
Which was what I did for 15 years before all this stuff, longer than that.
Big
years.
Disruption to normalcy, which is hard. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So anxiety is managed, but I also just wonder, like, am I just so used to this now that we're going on, getting into 2 years of this?
Right.
I wonder if more and more things start to return to normal, how will I go, oh yeah, remember when we used to eat in restaurants? Like we've barely done that. And when we did, we went out to eat like a few weeks ago, or maybe like a month ago. And we were just like, this is amazing. Because eating out is like my favorite thing to do. And I haven't done it hardly at all. And I don't miss it the way that I don't miss it. Because I'm like, oh yeah, that's what happens when they say when you quit a habit for long enough, you don't miss it.
Mm-hmm.
But then when we went back, I was like, oh yeah. We could do this once a month, maybe. It used to be like, okay, how are we going to avoid eating out every night? Because that's too much.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I feel that for sure, especially on the depression side of things. I like, as much as like I am an introvert, I've realized in my own mental health journey that like I still need to like connect with people. I still need to like have conversations. And when you're like so isolated at home all the time, it can be hard for sure.
Yeah, I'm definitely an introvert too. And I used to like panic because people would have like parties and I would be like, I'm not invited. But then I'd be like, oh, I was invited and I don't want to go. Like,
for sure.
A lot of jokes about that. But like, now the pandemic sort of gave me a break from worrying about that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. But now I'm like, oh yeah, I should like have a friend over. Like I forget that it's an option, like
we need each other.
We could do that, but we're very lucky. We're very fortunate in that my husband and we moved during the pandemic, like a year ago. We moved into this guest house where our friends own the property. And so we have like an expanded little pod now.
Right.
That came in. I should mention that because that came into play at a time when I think we probably were hitting a mark of like, fuck, like we need other people.
Yeah.
It can't just be you and me, bud.
I feel that so hard.
Kill you.
Yeah, I know. 100%. My partner, Jessica, she's an English professor in college and, just teaching Zoom. She teaches in a men's prison as well. And like, she's finally starting to go back, but like, 18 months of just, and our house is 720 square feet. It's not big.
Very small.
It's very small. So, but we actually live in a weird kind of rural pocket of Orange County. And we're like on dirt roads and there's horses everywhere. And our neighbors,
so you have
thankfully,
space.
We have space. Yeah. We have a backyard. We have space. And our neighbors are best friends. Yeah.
Our new place is smaller than our old place. Like we used to have a 2-bedroom and we each had our own space. Like this is where you hang out and do your shit. And this is where I hang out and do my shit. We don't have that anymore really, but we've managed to figure out ways and we have more outdoor space than we did before. And so it's like, that's been an adjustment. But and also there's a landscaper here, leaf blowing. I hope that isn't too loud.
Well, if that isn't very typical Southern California, that's just part of the territory.
God forbid a leaf stick around for more than a couple days.
We hate those leaves. Fuck those leaves.
Get them out of here.
Get them out of here. I hear that. Well, I don't want to keep you much longer. I love chatting with you. And I loved your book.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you
listeners,
so much.
Make sure to go pick up at your local bookstore, or bookshop.org is a great place to go read Sarah's book. Grand. It's wonderful. It's beautiful.
Thank you.
And last thing is we always sort of wrap up the show talking about our empathy heroes, Sarah. Mm-hmm. So people in our lives, could even be characters from stories, etc. I will go first to help you think about your empathy hero. My empathy hero this week is so my wife and I'm rewatching it. She's watching it for the first time. We're watching Friday Night Lights, which is a show I enjoy, but like it's interesting because on rewatch I feel less like I still love it, but I feel like there's some like problematic stuff in here. It's interesting how that happens. But anyways, my empathy hero is Coach Taylor, played by Kyle Chandler. He's kind of harsh. Coach Taylor, yeah.
That's who he is now.
Yes, exactly. I agree. He's kind of harsh in moments. Like I don't remember that. Like he's a little like unempathetic in moments, but then in moments he's like so beautiful and sweet, and so. He's my empathy hero, and Friday Night Lights is streaming on Netflix, people. So if you haven't watched it, it's wonderful.
It is.
Yeah. How about you?
In real life, I probably have a couple, but like one would be my youth pastor growing up, Mike. Was probably the most empathetic person I've ever known. To the point where when I was little, I thought maybe he's Jesus come back. Is he an angel? Like he's so wonderful. Just like Christ embodied, what, like not. And so
like real Jesus,
Bible
exactly, Jesus,
Bible Jesus. Yeah. Radical Jesus.
Yeah.
And then my mother, who just had an unending she had unending empathy for people and taught us how to see people, really see them and make them feel loved. It's one of the saddest things among many of her dying is that she never got to meet my husband, Scott. And I always say to him, like, you don't know the love, of that person and how much she would have loved you.
Yeah.
And, how you could see what we lost, that's tough.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say them. And in terms of a character, well, I watch so much shit. It's like,
do you? What are you watching?
I can't even. Everything.
Okay.
I watch everything. To the point where now where it's too much and I can't remember anything.
Yeah.
But This Is Us as a show is meant to elicit sentimental emotions and empathy, and they do a really good job on that show. Some people don't like it because they do that. I like it. I'm like, my husband laughs at me because I'm like, he'll come in after I've been watching it and I'm just like, God damn it, every time. I'll think, am I going to make it through an episode of This Is Us without crying? Never.
Feel the same way about Ted Lasso. Cried every episode.
Oh, you know what? I haven't even watched that show yet. Sometimes when something gets too much praise, I'll wait a while.
I get that.
Hey, shut the fuck up about it. I'll get to it. Don't tell me what to do.
That's right. I get it. I get that.
But that's one of my blind spots right now. But shows that make you. I was what you were saying earlier. I'm glad. I mean, I know we're gonna probably wrap this up, but
it's up to you.
I love art that elicits and cultivates empathy.
Yes.
For people or things or experiences. That show Made. MAID.
I haven't. Oh, that's
Oh my
that's
God.
new, right? On Netflix.
Talk about. You can see him there.
Yeah.
Talk about eliciting empathy. She is a story of a woman who's in an abusive relationship who gets out of it, and she works as a maid, and it really does a good job of showcasing how difficult poverty is, especially for a single mother or in an abuse situation. And I mean, whoo, it's so good. It's funny and heart-wrenching, and it's based on a book, a memoir that a woman I didn't even realize. I follow her on Twitter. I was like, oh, that's based on her life.
Oh, wow.
Stephanie Land is the woman who wrote the book. And
all right.
Yeah. So it's a really good show. I highly recommend it. It's like, and there's some interesting aspects about race in it because she's white. And so you're watching it and you're like, you know, you got to confront the fact that, like, do I love this so much because she's white and I feel so sympathetic for her? Would I feel the same way if it was a black woman being depicted? But I think it actually opens the door to empathy for anyone in that position in life. I mean, you know, so, I mean, it's a worthy show. I don't think it's ignorant or anything. It's done very well, but it is interesting to think about those things the same way, like, we get more upset when a young white pretty woman goes missing and those things, you know, but it doesn't ruin the experience. I think it's just a note that you make while you watch it. You go, oh, this is interesting.
For sure.
But
that's good to know.
It's a real story. It's not made up. This happened to someone, you know.
No, I saw that pop up and I was like, oh, this looks interesting. And it is on my list
it's
to
really
watch.
Creatively done. I love the way they made it. They showed money on the screen, like, as she's adding up, like, how much money she has left for the day or whatever. And I recommend it. So, I mean, that's that.
I so appreciate you commenting on the art as empathy piece, because I think that's what it is and what it can be and how we can sort of perceive it. Like, I think, I mean, I say this endlessly on the show, but, like, I think about, like, the books I read as a kid and the stuff that helped me sort of, like, relate to characters and, like, escape a little bit, like, one being Where the Red Fern Grows. Like, I was Billy Coleman in the woods with my two dogs because I didn't want to be at home. Home was scary. Home was, like, too hard and whatever. And it was an escape. It helped me sort of work through stuff. It was protection. It was all of that stuff. So yeah, art can be that, and it's beautiful. Yeah. Cool. Well, Sara, where can the Feely humans out there connect with you and follow all your stuff, etc.? It's okay. It's okay.
Sara Schaefer 1 is my social media on all platforms. And my podcast is called The Schaefer Shakedown. And I do shows in my miniature comedy club. It's called The Ha Ha Hole. And the next one is December 11th. And it will be streaming as well as in person in LA. We're trying something new. It's going to be a little wild.
Nice.
So stay tuned. If you follow me on social media, trust me, I will be posting about it a lot.
Amazing. I can't wait for that. Well, this has been lovely. Listeners, all those links will be in the show notes at feelyhuman.com. And the last thing I'll say, as I always do, I'm here, you're here, and so is a gardener. Together on this wayward, overwhelming, awe-inspiring, pale blue dot, we have each other. It's you, me, empathy.